What's up, everybody? This is Passion 9. I got my Bacardi Gold. And tonight, I want to talk about director Hiroki Hayashi. Uh, Big deal to me. Big deal to Passion 9 because he introduced me to the harem anime genre. Way back in the day, here in the West, one of his most iconic shows, Tenchi Moyo, was airing on the Toonami block. And of course, it was dubbed, and that's not wasn't official, but you know what I'm saying. That was my introduction. And I'm sure it's true for a lot of Westerners. I'm sure for a lot of us, anybody who's enjoyed the rest of Hayashi's resume, resume? I'm drunk. Will know, that's where he first, reached our shores, was through Tenchi, which makes sense because Tenchi is great. Tenchi is fun. It's a classic. There were many variations of it. You had the original OVA, which is fun. Tenchi Universe, which was fun. That's the TV version. And then Tenchi in Tokyo, which was fun. It was given an awful reboot much, much later, but we're not going to talk about that because nobody cares. Hiroki Hayashi. I feel like the more I've seen from him in recent years, the more I've come to think of him as sort of the embodiment, really, of the lighter side of 90s anime. Because most of his stuff was throughout the 90s. Very nostalgic decade for me, of course, because that's where I grew up watching anime. And all of his stuff is fun. I've never seen anything from him that wasn't fun, that wasn't as enjoyable as Tenchi. He's also known and well regarded for Bubblegum Crisis, which is a cyberpunk sci-fi action series starring a team of Sentai hero women, very much like Sailor Moon, which combines Sentai and Shoujo, magical girls. Bubblegum Crisis was more like, instead of magic, they're fighting the bad guys in cybernetic suits. So that's pretty cool and very cyberpunk. Blade Runner meets Sailor Moon. There you go. That was fun and had some really cool spin-offs even. A whole lore that expanded throughout the 90s due to the popularity of it. And he was also behind El Hazard, The Wanderers, which is another fun, very Tenchi-like comedy adventure series. Almost kind of isekai. In fact, definitely an isekai, because it involves getting whisked away from our world to a fantasy world. Very much an example of the early isekai genre, I feel, of the 90s. And it's a blast. I had a lot of fun watching it. I think it's airing on Crunchyroll now. Along with Legend of Black Heaven, which is another one he did that I've only seen recently. I discovered this gem very recently. And it's another one that blends a lot of comedy with sci-fi elements. And this is something you'll notice. This is something I've noticed with Hiroki Hayashi as a director, is a lot of the anime he's directed involve a combination of fun, very, very sort of over-the-top sci-fi elements, outer space, you name it, all kinds of crazy stuff, and light goofball comedy. Very fun characters. All of his shows have a very distinct, colorful look, even when the production values themselves aren't always at 11, you know what I mean? this was the 90s. This was a time where, like, a lot of smaller studios were hurting economically. But all of his shows have a distinct look, have fun, colorful visuals and great character designs. But more importantly, are always fun to watch. They always have fun concepts and characters that immediately I find endearing and lovable. And again, going back to Tenchi, it's a fun rom com harem. You've got a guy living in a rural part of Japan, just looking after his father's temple. He's just a near do well student guy, and a space pirate lady crashes into his life, and before he knows it, there's like a police lady who represents the Galactic Police and is chasing this space pirate, and a princess who comes from royalty that has beef with the space pirate, and yeah, they're all gals and it's harem, but it's like there's enough thought put into the lore of this of where they come from and how like sci-fi it is, to the point where it shifts from Earth to outer space, that it's one of the better examples of the genre, I feel. I mean, I know there are probably people that would write it off as just kind of like disposable comedy, but no, it's really fun if you enjoy the lighter side of anime. Legend of Black Heaven involves a salary man in his 30s, married, kind of settled down, who can't let go of his youthful days in his metal rock band. And he gets embroiled in a plot by a galactic federation to fight off aliens using his music. So there you go. More blending of wild comedy with sci-fi elements. You've got that, and he, interestingly enough, also served as the main artist behind a classic American cartoon called Thundercats, which used to play before Toonami. Actually, interestingly enough, right before the Toonami block, they would rerun that. So I actually have some nostalgia for that, which is pretty funny, that Hayashi was involved with that. He didn't direct it, but he did serve as the main artist. So apparently they consulted him for that. So there you go. Even dipped his brush in some American cartoon stuff. So yeah, Hiroki Hayashi, great guy, great artist. I think he's contributed a lot of fun stuff to 90s anime, and you should definitely check out some of those titles. You can find Bubblegum Crisis, I think, on Funimation. Legend of Black Heaven is on Crunchyroll now. El Hazard is on Crunchyroll. I highly recommend all those. And if you haven't seen Tenchi, any of those are worth checking out. It's a fun series, especially if you like harem comedies. But that's all I've got to say about that guy. You guys, take care. Live for the passion. Bye.